It's your boy Insho, but you already know. Apologies for taking absolutely forever to come out with another video. Another single video with just being me. I know some of y'all just miss just me. Some of y'all really do like it when I bring the squad out. I'll bring the squad out soon, but the point being is I've been lacking on these YouTube videos. I've been pushing out content you probably won't see for like another 5-ish years. But you know, content nonetheless. But let's get back on topic. We're here to talk about Avatar. Not the Blue People movie. Everyone goes, no, not the Blue People movie. The movie where we talk about Avatar and The Last Airbender. I said movie. That movie was horrible. The show where we talking about Avatar and from the Avatar The Last Airbender series. And now we're talking about Avatar Korra from the sequel Avatar The Legend of Korra. Now, if you want to just get into my reaction to Nuxanor, Nuxtaku, one of the funniest anime YouTubers on the planet, who has actually some pretty good takes most of the time. If you want to skip to that reaction of this video, just skip to this time. But if you're here for it, be here for it. I remember being in and out of the series, not really being, grabbing a hold of it until the book Fire came out. When book Fire came out, that's when I was watching it weekly. And Avatar The Last Airbender is probably the best animated series of all time. Animated series of all time. If you're just including book Water, Earth, and Fire with Avatar Aang. Now, for there to be a sequel to that, it is hard to match that level of honor, prestige. The regalness of that series is beyond attainable. Well, so far. But we get a sequel, Legend of Korra. My opinion of Korra overall is that it was an animated series that was a sequel. That's my overall opinion. But I do like a lot of parts of it, and I do dislike many parts of it as well. If we're gonna go season by season, I think season 1 did an average job, season 2 did a below average job, season 3 did an above average job, but nothing that competes with any of the, I'm gonna say doesn't compete with book Earth or book Fire of Avatar the original series. Now, 4th season, it's a little up in the air for me. Depends on where you're going with it. But I'm gonna just say this to keep it simple so we can get to the reaction as soon as possible. It did its thing, and the series is now over. It's concluded. Now, talking about Avatar Korra as a character. I do not like her. Now, it's not because she's a woman. It's not because she's black with blue eyes. It's not because she struggled to learn airbending. It's because she has these behavioral patterns that are not consistent after a certain part in the series. She becomes very inconsistent. Her character, like who she is, the decisions that she makes wavers too much for me to be like, oh, this whole series from season 1 to season 4, that's Korra. It's like she's 3 different people throughout the entire series, but I digress. Nuxtaku, he has said, actually, Legend of Korra is a great sequel, so we'll just get into it.
Despite all the hate and criticism, Legend of Korra did do one thing that every other sequel needs to learn. And even though I would consider Avatar The Last Airbender like a 9.5 out of 10, and I would consider Legend of Korra an 8 out of 10, which is still respectable, but not nearly.
I'm sorry, I'm pausing. Avatar The Last Airbender is a 9.8 out of 10. 9.9 out of 10. Depending on the day, it wavers between those two scores. Avatar Legend of Korra, an 8 out of 10 is a very high score, Nuxanor. Big Nux, Nuxtaku, Nux Legend. What? 8 out of 10 for Legend of Korra. Now. We only 14 seconds into this 9-minute and 53-second video, I would not give Legend of Korra an 8 out of 10. If I were to give Legend of Korra a score, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Now that means it's a little bit above average. That means that it's okay. It gets the job done. The series as a whole gets the job done. And does a little bit extra just because it has the name Avatar affiliated with it, right? And it has some really good animation quality. It's got some really good fights. I would give it a 6 out of 10, but maybe he'll change my mind. Maybe he'll remind me of some things, some characters, some things. But let me not get triggered too heavy. We only 14 seconds in. Let's keep it going.
As good as the actual GOAT that is Avatar The Last Airbender. This
Okay,
fall
I'm still
off
following.
in quality, in my opinion, does not hurt Korra as a sequel and as a standalone property. Today I'm going to talk about something that no one else talked about. I'm not going to be criticizing Korra. I'm not going to be praising Korra as far as a standalone
That's fine.
series. I want to
Keep
talk
it objective.
about the art of sequels and how a lot of people mess up sequels for so many reasons, and Korra mastered most of them, and not at all in the way that you think I'm actually going to be talking about. So,
okay, let's
strap on your big boy pants. Let's just jump right into it, and let's make some people who like other sequels mad, because that's what we do here. We hit them with the facts, baby. The facts. Sequels are always walking on a tightrope. Normally, they're coming after some legendarily positively received IP, and they have to still maintain the attention of the entire audience, okay? It's not easy to get a goddamn good one. You're not always gonna have a Shrek 2. Oh, bloody hell, do I love Shrek 2. I don't know why I became Australian all of a sudden talking about Shrek. It's definitely not any of my deep-seated insecurities about how Australians are awake at ogre hours. Normally, sequels are cash cows. They're just in it to cash out because the original IP was goddamn great. Naruto, goddamn great. Boruto, not goddamn great. And obviously Boruto was only made because Naruto was such a massively popular and lucrative franchise that Boruto had to pop out to suck some more money out of the fans, baby. Yeah. Now, as a standalone...
I'm pausing it. And also suck the brain cells out of the OG Naruto fans. Or at least a bit of them. A good portion of them for them to say Boruto's really not that bad. Let's get back into Kawaki versus this tank that I cannot remember his name, but this fight was sweet.
Boruto's not a terrible show. It's not a terrible story. I read the manga and
I'm sorry, I'm pausing. I can't, bro, he's saying these words that I would associate with the show that he's saying are not associated with the show. Boruto as a show is terrible. As an anime, it's terrible. As a manga, it's average. I'll give it average.
the manga is, I'd go as far as to say that the manga is alright, but it absolutely positively failed as a sequel. Because every time Boruto needs to accomplish something, it needs to be something that Naruto, remember that dude that you've been following for 700 chapters in the original Naruto manga? Yeah, it means that original Naruto fellow that we love so much and we've seen him grow from nothing to something, that dude, that guy, he failed. That's why Boruto has to be the one to succeed. And every single time that happens, it's a slap in the face of the entire Naruto fandom being like, bro, I just watched Naruto and Sasuke grow over all these years. They're like the most badass epic ninjas ever. They accomplished this super epic freaking dope world peace. 10 years later, devolved into war. Naruto and Sasuke can't actually accomplish anything. It falls on Boruto, this schnook kid, grew up in a posh, pushy life with parents that love him, goddammit. No struggles. He's talented, I guess. Just completely disregarding the work that went into the original story that made the original story so great and made us root for the original characters. It is a really, really bad sequel, even if as far as the standalone story goes. I mention all of this very briefly because you have to understand that about sequels, the most important thing that you have to do is not tarnish the original work. You don't want people to have a lesser opinion of the original work or any of the original characters because the sequel was god-awful. And this is why Legend of Korra is actually so amazing. Clearly he explained how there is this avatar cycle, how there is the legendary avatar character, the one who is the great bridge between the mortal world and the spirit world, someone who can control all four elements, and it is his duty to bring peace and harmony to the nations of the world. Every generation, no matter what the story is, there will always be toil and strife. There will be struggles.
Agreed.
There will be some sort of crazy conqueror dude, or there will be some crazy revolution of some sort. Maybe there will be an imperialist government. Who knows? It's up to the Avatar to step in.
I'm on it with him right now.
Now, it doesn't minimize the work of any individual Avatar. If in a future generation something else happens, the world is always going to be thrown into disarray, and that's why you have the constant Avatar cycle, where you bring the Avatar back into the fold, and it's up to that Avatar to step in and solve the world's problems again. It doesn't minimize the great work that Kyoshi did, because a couple Avatars later, Aang showed up and he had issues to deal with as well. And it's the same with Aang and Korra. Aang progressed the world into a state of unity and solved his generation's toils and strife. He created an era of peace. And the fact that you have these different antagonists showing up in Korra, like for example, you have the Equalists that rise up. These guys are all upset that non-benders are being treated worse than benders. Let's be completely honest, is a very logical activist take. It doesn't minimize any of the accomplishments that Aang actually did. However, it definitely does pose a threat and pose a level of fear and unbalance in society today that today's Avatar, Korra,
but he's cooking.
Actually solve and save.
It's tasting
even though
good.
I do think Korra fell off in quality in regards to Aang and his adventure. Again, Last Airbender, 9.5 out of 10. Legend of Korra, 8 out of 10. Which is still pretty good. It doesn't detract from the original. The original work can be looked as a complete standalone story, and Korra is just a completely different story in that same world. The story takes place after Aang's death, and therefore it is a new generation and a new Avatar's job to solve the new issues that are showing up in the world.
I'm gonna pause it right here, as Korra looks like she's about to box with somebody somewhere. The only things that I think Korra did to diminish the characters of Avatar is that they made Aang a father that was not attentive to his two eldest children. Whether that is realistic or not, who's to say, right? Well, that tarnishes Aang's character. They made Toph a woman that couldn't hold down a man. She had 2 baby daddies. And also a woman that was not in her kids' lives for real. And so they both went 2 different ways. The oldest went the straight and narrow way. And, you know, she ended up having problems with her sister, who did not go the straight and narrow way because she wanted to rebel. So then she, you know, was not in her kids' lives enough so that they both went their own ways, and she had to literally make her youngest daughter leave town so that she did not arrest her and did not tarnish the Beifong name. Like, I get it, but it makes Toph look worse than who she really is. Now, Sokka, we don't really know what the deal is. I still think Varrick is Sokka's son, but we will never get there. That's a theory I'm just going to have forever until it gets disproven. Maybe it has been disproven, but I don't know. Suki, her name was not tarnished. Zuko, actually, his name really got hyped up in Korra, because not only is he the great Fire Lord that has restored peace to the land and, you know, kept it in balance with the other leaders of each of the other nations. The man's son, General Iroh, is a beast and a half. He pulled up and did his thing. I mean, he didn't do as much of a thing as I thought he was going to do, but he did his thing, right? And Zuko has a dragon now. A dragon. That does nothing but hype up Zuko's prestige, my mans. And my womans. Is. And Katara even, I mean, she's alive in the series along with Zuko. Oh, and Toph, I guess. But Katara, she doesn't get her name tarnished really at all, but it blows my mind that they didn't have... I mean, people say that it's cheating for Katara to be Korra's teacher, right? But thinking about it, there's no reason Katara couldn't have possibly given her advice or mentored her a little bit to keep her on the straight and narrow, because Korra is bullheaded. And she grew up in the Southern Water Tribe with Katara, and I'm thinking to myself, like, bruh, like, there's no way Katara really just let her be bullheaded this whole time just because she's Aang's reincarnation. Like, there's no way. Like, Korra is this... It's like, why would you not let Katara be her mentor, bro? It just doesn't make sense to me. But all of those characters, most of them did not get their names tarnished. Like, that's the Fab Six, right? or the Spectacular Six, just to keep alliteration going. Aang and Toph were the ones that got doodled on the most because of this. No other characters really got diminished for real. I'll have that to say. The rest of the world being diminished is whatever, but you can't doodle on the characters. You can't make Aang look bad. You can't make Toph look bad, which the core did. Paul restarted at 5 and 10. Let's get it.
From Aang, it doesn't make Aang useless, and it doesn't retroactively ruin any of the amazing accomplishments that Aang actually did. In fact, quite to the contrary, true. It praises all of those accomplishments. We see now some sort of central capital city. It's this place where all these different benders who never really worked together in the past, all of a sudden they are all on the same side, no matter what nation they hailed from. He created an era of peace and unity together with Zuko, and we see that in the growth of society. We see how much society's grown. We see other airbenders flying around. He basically revived a dead people. The actual world building and setup of Legend of Korra is almost a love letter to the accomplishments of Aang. Now, as far as an actual sequel, we definitely have to start understanding a lot more nuances of the world. We've already explored the world, the different nations, the different cultures, the fact that all these different nations are built off different cultures in real life. And I want to do an entire video on the world building of Avatar, because in my opinion, it has some of the best and strongest world building I've ever seen. But because we've already explored that, because we've met entities from the spirit world in the past, and because we've seen how all these different cultures kind of interact with each other in Avatar, The Last Airbender, when The Legend of Korra rolls around, we don't have that novelty. We need to grapple onto new concepts to keep the viewers entertained, and the new concepts aren't exactly as good as in Avatar.
Now, okay, second season is easily Korra's worst season. It's pretty much inarguably the worst season. But the concept of... I'll say this. The plot line of Korra wanting to master a spiritual technique that her uncle knows makes sense. Her uncle being a bad guy trying to become an avatar, godlike entity makes sense. Her grappling with converting all these evil spirits back into good spirits and putting it back into the spirit realm makes sense. Even the spirit portal itself opening and releasing its energy out into the world to make not only new airbenders, but people get along with spirits makes sense. Even the natural disaster, I believe, that happens at the beginning of season 3. I could be wrong, it could be in season 2, but when the plant life starts to strangle societies and break down the infrastructure, like that whole plot line, all that stuff makes sense. What drives me nuts in season 2 is the characters, how they're not similar really at all to how they were in the first season. And it's not because they had character development, it's because of just bad writing, in my personal opinion. Not only the characters, but the way that the story is told. The storytelling is off-putting. It's not done well. And because of the characters and the storytelling, the actions that are commenced to even get to the routes that we got to, the journey was not fun. The journey was irritating. The journey was a headache. And it was all sort of drama-based. It wasn't based on, logic. It wasn't based on, not even logic. There's a whole argument there. But it did not make sense based on the characters that they already established in the first season. That's really all I'm trying to say. And I didn't like the route that they took. And because of the characters falling off, because the storytelling falling off, even though the plot was good, it was a mess. It was a mess. And that's all we needed to not have, was anything in Avatar be a mess. Let's go.
That said, it doesn't detract from the adventure of The Last Airbender. And that's something I truly wish so many other sequels would do. When it comes to sequels, and you could tell that a lot of them are just there to cash out, I could think of so many off the top of my head that are just downright disrespectful to the franchise as a whole. The fact that Seven Deadly Sins Season 3 and on's quality dropped tremendously just because they're like, hey, if they're a Seven Deadly Sins fan, they'll just watch Seven Deadly Sins, so we don't need to make it even look remotely good. The Tokyo Ghoul manga is huge, right? And we want to make more people that watch the manga also watch the anime. So the season 1 also was big. So we're gonna make season 2 be bad, really bad. Just kind of run through it. And a lot of people watched season 2, obviously me included. It was a big mistake. It was really bad. And they were like, how can we keep milking this? Let's make Tokyo Ghoul Route A now. It'll be a sequel to what happens if the actual sequel of Tokyo Ghoul did follow the canon. We're just gonna make believe it did, and we're gonna continue at an arbitrary point in the manga, which totally lost me. I had no idea what was going on.
I'm pausing. Look, Tokyo Ghoul, when people say just read the manga, just read the manga. I mean, I learned the hard way.
I never read the Tokyo Ghoul manga, but again, it's just the concept rolled over of, hey, let's just milk it. Did you see Promised Neverland season 2? Are you familiar with that? That disaster.
I'm never watching Promised Land season 2. I will read it if I want to read it.
Where they just rushed through the manga because they're like, all right, we could sell some more anime and shiz, and they just completely botched the story. Did you see Berserk 2016? They're like, Berserk is a massive intellectual property. Let's just get clay models and 3D the crap out of it. Yes, we'll just run through the best fictional story of all time. Or Dragon Ball Super. I hate that I'm out here listing off all these. Maybe I'll do a whole video on bad sequels at some point. Definitely subscribe for that and the Avatar world building thing.
I'm already subscribed.
People like, all that jazz. But Dragon Ball Super was an 130 episode ad to buy merch. That's what it felt like.
He's not wrong.
All right. There were some upsides to Dragon Ball Super. There were some good scenes here and there. But these are examples of how not to respect the original work. Avatar Legend of Korra freaking does. And that is what, despite all the criticism you can have about that story as a standalone, and again, 8 out of 10, still pretty good. That's what I would rate it. I'm just saying, I'm not one of the haters. It approached the Avatar story from a place of love. It did not retroactively discredit any of the accomplishments of the original Last Airbender series. It tried, hit or miss.
He's actually correct. It did come out of a place of love. They didn't just try and make it for a cash grab. You could tell in the first season they really tried to make it a real series, but then they got lazy with the writing after that. Until the third season when they came back and realized that their hate for the show just needed to not be that big. But he's right. And it did not discredit really much of Avatar season, or this first series with Aang. It did not. And I think he's about to say hit or miss for it trying to hit the same marks as Avatar, The Last Airbender, or even hit above those marks, whether they hit those marks or completely miss them, shooting the complete different direction. Even if that happened, the attempt was there, thinking that the fans would appreciate it.
To approach the world with new angles as to not sully the original work, it was not clearly just a cash grab, and it was something that tried to add something new to a table to, yes, an incredibly popular franchise. Actually putting your pen down on a paper and making a sequel. I'm looking at you, Kung Fu Panda 3! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. Maybe even learn something. Share this to...
Okay, he didn't do what I think he was going to do.
And say, hey, this really bad sequel. It could have learned something from Korra. Because for the most part, when there's a sequel that's bad and it doesn't tarnish the original work, no one cares. It's like, okay, all right, the sequel was bad, whatever, so we won't watch the sequel. But when the sequel actively ruins the original work, when Promised Neverland gets a season 2 like that, that's when the people actually get rightfully upset. So that's it and done. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you've been enjoying my Avatar analyses, as well as me going back to my roots. Renaissance, as it were. Analysis type content. Leave a like, subscribe, stay weird, fam. Let me know in the comments stuff you want me to cover in the future, because I'm not scared to say what everyone wanted and wished was said. Please don't cancel me. I'm sorry. I take it all back. Okay, please, I'm sorry. Stay weird, fam.
Nah, he's funny. Okay, so hold on. My computer is acting up. We're gonna cut this out. Alright, the man has 411 comments. I'm not gonna comment because, with those 411 comments, I'm sure there are plenty of replies, plenty of conversations that had to be had. Plus, this video was already 4 months. It was made 4 months ago, so nothing I can do. We're gonna close that up. Now I'm gonna talk to y'all about my thoughts. So, I do like his video, A1 video. That's why I'm subscribed. Nice to know her. he made some very good points. Avatar: Legend of Korra did not take away much, or really even a lot, of how good Avatar: The Last Airbender had. It did not spit in the face of much or a lot of what Avatar: The Last Airbender had. Now, this is me, a man with average IQ that has looked at media for a long time, a man trying to give his opinion about things, something that he deems so worthy, right, to be on my wall. It truly does make me upset that Korra was not as good as it should have been. But I digress. It was not as bad as it could have been. Now, do I still keep Korra at a 6 out of 10? Yes. Do I still wish that it was as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender? Yes. Do I hope to God, pray to God, any more content that has Avatar: The Last Airbender's rep on the line? Anything else that comes out, whether it's that new live action or that new animated series? Do I pray to God that it rectifies the mistakes that Korra made? Yes. Yes, indeed I do. Because there's no need for bad things to continue to be bad. Said what I said. Y'all know what to do. Hit the Instagram. I hope you're already liking and commenting. Or liked and commented already. Subscribe if you feel the need. What else I gotta say? I got my intro.com that's got One Piece reaction episodes, reactions on there. Re-reactions, I should say, because they are titled re-reactions. Got all of East Blue on there, so go check that out. What else I got? Patreon, but no need to really promote that. If y'all want to support the boy, but I'm just a little bittersweet about that video, because he's right, but I wish he was wrong. Oh, and if you like the shirt, BlakAttyreClothing.com, BLAK, Attyre with a Y, not an I, clothing.com. It's on the screen if you can't spell it correctly. Tank top should be there. I don't know if they got the men's tanks on there, but they got the women's tanks on there for sure. Hit them up. I'm getting my apparel, my attire on YouTube. I'm gonna catch y'all. Deuces.